Good afternoon, not evening. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 42, which is being recorded in the same week as episode 41. Why is that, you ask? Well, let me tell you. We just recorded the podcast yesterday, which was Wednesday evening, and we thought, woo, that's done. And then bang, Sony hit us with some big news on the PlayStation blog yet again. This time it's to do with PSVR 2's controller setup, and we got a picture. Who better to talk about it with than the man himself who loves controllers these days and VR,
Yep.
so it's the perfect candidate, Mr. Alex Sylvester. How you
Yes.
doing?
Oh, yes. I love VR. I love controllers, and like Sony has just delivered. I mean, this bit of breaking news is brilliant. They've just put a smile to my day. Not only is it Justice League Day, it's just PSVR 2 Day. This is
Oh,
great.
it's great, you know. So a few weeks back on the
All right.
PlayStation blog, Sony spoke about PlayStation VR 2 and the future, basically the next gen. We're calling it PSVR 2, by the way. That's not the
Cool.
official name, but they spoke about the next generation of PSVR and what it was going to be like on PS5. And then they said, we're going to share more information with you later in the year. We thought, yeah, summer, end of the year. We didn't know
No.
two and a half weeks later.
Yeah.
Right, but here we are, you know, today they've talked about and shown the actual new PSVR 2 controllers, and
Wow.
these things look like, I'll be honest with you, man,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, they look stupidly sexy, but they look like
Look,
the
man.
Sony Ericsson logo without the green gel in the middle.
That's exactly what they look like. I think that's the look that they were going for. You know, shouting out to Ericsson. It's like not forgetting, not forgetting this
Okay,
past partnership there.
that's it. So the way we're going to do it is I'm going to read the press statement that came out with it, and then we'll go over the features of the controller and get your feedback on it and what you think about it. Okay.
Sure.
So this was on the PlayStation blog. Next Gen VR on PS5, the new controller. And this is Hideko Nishino, Senior Vice President of Platform Planning and Management. So this is what was on the PlayStation blog. Following the recent reveal of our next generation virtual reality system for PS5, I'm excited to unveil more details about the new controller that will play a critical role in providing gamers with the VR experience we're working to deliver. Our new VR controller speaks to our mission of achieving a much deeper sense of presence and stronger feeling of immersion in VR experiences. It will build upon the innovation we introduced with the DualSense wireless controller, which changed how games feel on PS5 by unlocking a new way to tap into the sense of touch. Now we're bringing that innovation to VR gaming. So, in regards to the design, the first thing you'll notice with our next gen VR controller is the unique design, which takes on an orb shape that allows you to hold the controller naturally while playing with a high degree of freedom. There are no constraints with how you're moving your hands, providing developers with the ability to create unique gameplay experiences. We
Mhm.
also designed the new controller with great ergonomics in mind, so it's well balanced and comfortable to hold in each of your hands. We applied learnings from testing users with a range of hand sizes, as well as the decades of insights from controllers across all PlayStation platforms. The result is an iconic design that will change how VR games are played.
Nice.
CIE's product engineering and design teams have collaborated to build our new VR controller from the ground up with a goal of making a huge leap from current gen VR gaming. We're thrilled with the controller we develop, but what matters now is how game creators will take advantage of the features to design the next generation of VR experiences. Prototypes of our new VR controller will be in the hands of the development community soon, and we can't wait to see what ideas they come up with and how the controller helps bring their imagination to life. There's still so much more to share about the next generation of VR on PS5. On behalf of all of us at SIE, I want to thank you for taking this journey with us. I mean, that means it's got to be soon because they did this because obviously they said that the reason they shared the PSVR 2 announcement was because it was going to leak anyway. There's no way to hold it in. And
Yeah.
obviously it means that the controller must be nearly done and ready to go because they wouldn't have done this otherwise. They would have held off a little bit longer, but it's
They
obviously
wouldn't.
ahead of schedule, isn't it?
It is way ahead of schedule, and it's shockingly so. I mean, we would have been expecting information about this, like we mentioned earlier, like later on in the life cycle of the PS5. I mean, the console literally is still hot. You know what I mean? It's just come out the oven, and people are just getting their hands on it, and now they're already talking about, oh, even showing what the controller is going to look like for the PSVR 2. Sony's just smacking it out the park right now, and
Well,
yeah,
let's break these controllers down.
yeah,
So number one for you, Alex. So
yeah,
this is what they said about features. The new VR controller enables players to feel and interact with games in a much more visceral way. There are several features, including key features from the DualSense controller, which match our vision for what next-gen VR games can be. So the first one, Alex, adaptive triggers. Each VR controller, left and right, includes an adaptive trigger button that adds palpable tension when
yeah,
pressed, similar to what's found in the DualSense controller. If you've
yeah,
played a PS5 game, you'll be familiar with the tension in the L2 or R2 buttons when you press them, such as when you're drawing your bow to fire an arrow. When you take that kind of mechanic and apply it to VR, the experience is amplified to the next level. So let's stop there. Adaptive
yeah.
trigger in your
Adaptive
left
triggers.
and
Oh my
right.
gosh. Just I mean, obviously, fans of the show would know that we dived into the DualSense yesterday and how great that controller is. But the fact is that now they're going to be making that into a controller which is freehand. Like you're no longer bound by it being combined into one controller. You could now, you just have so much more fluidity. And now that they're adding the one of the signature features of the DualSense, the resistive triggers, to VR. I mean, they've just taken it to a completely next level. This is far beyond what Oculus is talking about, what anybody else is talking about in terms of resistance, in terms of creating that next level emergence. There's nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's actually on these levels right now. So Sony is definitely pushing the bar for VR, and the best way to do it is with the controller. We know that the visuals are going to look amazing. We've got that down to a T, and we want to scratch the surface of how what they can actually offer, what the system can actually offer. But now with haptic feedback, sorry, with resistive triggers, oh my gosh, putting bow and arrows. I mean, FPSs are going to be, oh my god,
Oh
FPS
no,
fans, COD fans are going to go crazy. I'm
definitely.
completely hyped about it. I'm sorry,
Definitely. And,
I'm
and
really
and
hyped
what will
about
be
it.
amazing is what will Team Asobi do with this? You know what I
Oh,
mean? It's
what
just
could they do with this? Oh,
it'd be
jeez.
stunning. You just mentioned it there. Another feature, haptic feedback. The new
Yeah,
controller will have haptic feedback optimized for its form factor, making every sensation in the game world more impactful, textured, and nuanced. When
bro.
you're traversing through rocky desert or trading blows in melee combat, you'll feel the experience, magnifying the extraordinary visual and audio experience that's so central to VR. Bro, haptic feedback in
Haptic
these orbs.
feedback.
Like, imagine now
Yeah,
playing two. I'm going to give you two examples, right?
yeah,
Number one, a boxing game.
yes.
So imagine when you hit someone, right? Like the
Mhm.
feedback that you're getting in these controllers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Number two, when you have a steering wheel in a racing game and these are
Oh,
going like vibrating like when you're like on the
yeah.
road. But he said it there like textured, and we know Sony can do it because we saw it with Astrobot, right?
That's true.
But imagine you're racing and you're on tarmac, then you go to dirt and
Yeah.
it just changes. The feedback changes in these orbs. Like, what?
It changes a lot. I mean, from what they're actually talking about right now, I mean, this could essentially be a perfect companion to the DualSense controller. Like, I'm sure games which only have, what I mean, which a certain amount of buttons, maybe just the L2 and R2 and the same on the other side, and maybe which don't actually use the directional buttons. This will be a perfect substitute. Because it's just freeing. I mean, obviously you're missing, say, the touchpad, but obviously that can be replaced with the motion. But this, I mean, having two independent controllers. I mean, one could be going through gravel, the other one could be you could be going through water or like a muddy texture. And that experience alone is just mind blowing. I mean, with the dual sense at the moment, whenever you're playing Astro or any game, it's all uniform, isn't it? If you're on
Mm,
ice, you're on ice. If you're on water or on sand, both hands experience the same texture. But now we're gonna have the opportunity to have it in different hands. That's just mind blowing.
mm.
This is mind blowing. And the fact is that they're going to have dedicated haptic feedback for each device. That means obviously they're going to be able to improve and put performance as well. So it's just going to be left up to the developers to see exactly what crazy ideas they could come up with. Oh, it's exciting times.
It's
Really
interesting as
exciting
well. I
times.
think the one section in that paragraph, form factor, is that
Yeah.
they're optimized for its thing in the areas where you place your thumb, index, or middle fingers. This enables you to make more natural gestures with your hands during gameplay. Hold on. The controller can detect your fingers without any pressing in the areas where you place your thumb, index, or middle fingers. This enables you to make more natural gestures with your hands during gameplay. What a Matrix Minority Report am I reading here, dude?
This isn't it. Yeah, taken straight out the 25th century or whatever Minority Report was set, and they've brought it here. Thank you, time travelers. They've obviously kidnapped some aliens or something because this tech is ridiculous. And the fact is that it's going to be able to track your fingers. I mean, and we've mentioned on the show before previously about Half-Life Alex, you know, and
Mm,
how I mean it's quite similar to the Oculus how they had that, but this form factor, they've created an effortless shape. What's that called? I think it's called like a Klein jug. You know, the way
mm,
that it looks like it's almost like a 4D object, like the outside eventually merges on the inside and then it goes into the outside like a I don't know, it's a weird shape, but it just looks ergonomically pleasing for the hands. You know, it doesn't look like it's going to be an effort, and they almost look weightless. You know, the angle that they've actually got the actual
mm.
control sticks on, which just means that it's going to be the balance of the weight is just going to be offset by the actual angle. So it should actually be easy. It shouldn't actually have any fatigue. You know what I mean? It should be even easier to use than the actual PS Move controllers. But yeah, the fact that it's going to be able to track your fingers, I mean, you could just imagine the possibilities, you know, opening doors or, you know, I don't know. There's just so much things you can do with it.
It
Playing the
is
guitar, even, you know what I mean? Just opening the window. You need to have like a certain combination with your fingers. You can do gang signs if you wanted to, you know, in Fortnite. I mean, the options are like endless.
It is
Oh,
mad.
gosh.
It's mad.
Fun times.
This one excites me, Alex. Tracking. The VR controller is tracked by the new VR headset through a tracking ring across the bottom of the controller. To me, that sounds like you don't need a camera. Come on, announce it.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I
fine.
wanted more than anything. Infrared tracking. Now, if the headset
Yeah,
is doing the
yeah,
work, right,
perfect.
that is unbelievable. You know, I'm just having a look
Yeah,
at the picture now and I'm trying to see, like, it says that it's a ring at the bottom. It's tiny because it's not in the picture.
yeah,
There's a tiny um, ring, like a black
yeah,
ring, in
yeah.
the bottom where like it would be under your hand. You know, it's like
Right.
under the main stick, really. So it could be
Yeah,
that, but
could be.
dude, it's just getting more and more exciting. The fact that now this was a big limit for me. So like when you're playing the current PSVR, right? So when you're playing Blood and Truth, which is just like this crazy action game. Oh, actually, a better example that you'll understand is Super Hot.
Yeah, super hot.
Now you can do whatever you want with the movement as long as the camera sees. And there's times where you go out of the camera with the Move controller, and
Right.
then your arm starts spasming because it doesn't know where you are, and then you got to bring it
Yeah,
back in. You know,
yeah,
the fact that that isn't the case because the headset is tracking these controllers now just means
yeah,
that you can move so much more fluidly
yeah.
when you're playing this.
Definitely.
Man, oh god, your thoughts on
It's just
tracking?
yeah, it's just freeing, absolutely freeing. And I think those sockets at the bottom are actually where it's going to be charged. They look
Okay.
like yeah, like USB sockets. But I think yeah, if my computer wasn't spazzing out, yeah, they look like USB-C sockets. So yeah, that's where you're going to be able to charge them. So be interesting to see. Well, obviously, it's really early to hear about the battery life, but it's you know, I'm sure it's going to last about 7 hours maybe. So it's actually going to be you know at least you have a decent amount of game play time. Um, you know, with each charge. But yeah, dude, I mean, just looking at it, I mean, the resistor triggers, it just looks perfect. I mean, I think FPSs, you know what I mean? This is going to be perfect for those games. You know what I mean? It's the right form factor, it's lightweight, and the fact that it's just tracking everything from your fingers to its motion. I mean, yeah, I can't wait to see exactly what the actual headset looks like. You know, it's naturally going to have cameras at the bottom, or you know, or in its vicinity, so it just enhances the accuracy as well. It hasn't got that distance from measuring it from the TV to where you actually are, which obviously can increase errors in terms of tracking. It's all going to be localized, so that just means that it's going to be a lot more responsive, especially as we're you know stepping into 60 frames or and plus FPS games. So it's all for the better. I'm glad that they're kind of hopefully that they're opting away from the camera because that tech is just so last generation. You know what I mean? There's so much more you can do now, just having it in the close vicinity, which is what I'm expecting them to do with this one. So
Mhm.
I'm just too hyped.
Well, one more, mate. So, okay, so what I want you to do, and listeners, what I want you to do the same is just put your hands up, pretend you're holding a controller, and obviously think about your left hand now. So, in the left controller contains one analog stick, the triangle and square buttons, a grip button, L1,
Yeah,
trigger, L2, and the create button. And then the right controller has one analog stick. They say cross, I still say X and circle buttons, a grip button R1, trigger button R2, and the options button. The grip button can be used to pick up in-game objects as one example. So like
that's it.
it's just
Yeah,
it's just crazy. So like if you're holding it, like they've split the pad perfectly down the
yeah,
middle. Because if
they
you think
have.
about it, like well, you will get this better because you're a button basher in Tekken, right? So
So the
when you're
button
button
basher as well.
bashing with Eddie Gordo, you're X and square, right? You know what I mean?
Eddie Gordo. Oh my God, it's just on the character. I've never played him in years. But anyway, you're saying?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like Tekken's a good example because triangle and square are punches, aren't they? Left and right, and then X and
Yeah,
circle are the
they are.
left and right kicks. So they're splitting the pad the way it needs to be split, which is really really exciting. But then it's just they've nailed it.
Well,
You've said it. The form
this
factor of
is
this pad, these controllers are amazing. It's not a pad; it's a controller.
but it could be a pad. That's the thing. I mean, what they've eliminated now is the 2D factor. The yesteryear controls, the D-pad.
Mm,
That it's like we can rest that now because most games you play with the analog sticks. You know what I mean? And most consoles, it's normally the most prominent feature. You only use it for maybe selecting I don't know objects or weapons. You know what I mean? But you could always remap that to other buttons and have that incorporated a different way. So yeah, this could be the form factor that they go with going forward. You know what I mean? If they do manage to convince developers that yeah, D-pads aren't necessary, the dual analog sticks will actually be perfect, you know what I mean, for selecting in menus or whatever. This could be the way to go forward because this looks perfect. And the way they've actually separated it up, like you've said, is it's just ideal. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
It's brilliant ideal. How it's going to work with games like fighting games or whatever, who knows? But flying sims, driving sims, FPSs, just general VR experiences. This is just the closest thing to Ready Player One that we've seen so far. So, and that's what I'm looking forward to,
So
and I believe that Sony can deliver.
I want to bring something up to you that I haven't seen anybody mention yet, right?
All right.
Sony are very coordinated on colors.
Yeah.
These are black.
Oh, yeah, they are.
What
Oh,
that's leaning. Is
there
the
you go.
VR headset gonna be
Could-
black?
It could be because the first one was white, right? So it's like the
Mm.
opposite of the actual
Oh, it was
console
both,
itself. But
wasn't
yeah,
it? Because the middle visor was black, and then the trim and everything around it was white. So maybe they reverse it this time, to
maybe they,
match the PS5.
maybe only time will tell, and yeah, it probably will have. I can't even speculate, but it could actually have lights on there to enhance for the tracking. But then again, it won't need to have the lights on there because there's not going to be a camera potentially.
Mm.
Um, who knows, dude? Just who knows? All I can say is the direction that they're going with right now. I'm pleasantly surprised with it. And is that two PS? There's two PS home pads, home buttons, isn't there? Underneath the analog triggers.
It is indeed. It
I think
isn't.
it's two.
No, no. It's not. I don't think it's the button. I think it's just like the logo.
Just the
Or it
logo.
could no. It
Okay,
could be.
that
It could actually be the button because then that
could
means
be.
that they're catering to people who are left-handed and right-handed who have
Yeah.
access to the PlayStation Home button. Or one could be a button, one could just be a logo. We don't know. But
Yeah.
okay, so your overall final opinion on obviously we know your opinion on the tech, but yeah, the
Yeah.
look of the controller, your visual rating out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10, I would give this controller 11. Yeah, comfortable 11. Klein bottle, that's it. It looks like a Klein bottle. Listeners out there, just Google it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, it does look like the Sony Ericsson logo. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? But that whole 4D aspect of it is kind of based on this Klein bottle method where the inside is the outside. It's a really weird
That's a
concept.
that's a that's a
It
maths
works
thing,
so
isn't
well.
it?
It is, yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely, I'll give it 11. You know what I mean? I'm loving the way they've gone for it. I mean, compare this design to the Oculus Rift controller. You could see where they wanted to go with it, but obviously Sony's just created. I mean, that ring that's going around the actual, around your hands just looks a lot more immersive. And
yeah.
therefore it's got a lot more opportunities to track exactly what your things are doing, which is what the Oculus Rift controller's kind of lacking. But it's a perfect it looks perfect. You know what I mean? I can't wait obviously to get my hands on it to see what it can really do. But so far so good. So far so good, man. It's
Mm.
beautiful. I love the design. I mean, everything's coming out the gate with the actual PS5 design. Sony's just been smashing it. I
Mm.
mean, we saw the console itself. It looked alien, but it works. The controller itself, you know what I mean? They've managed to incorporate the old perfectly with the new and to where we will be heading in the future. And they've just continued with that theme for the PSVR 2 pad. So
I just
this is
remember a word that kept coming out from Jim Ryan's mouth in interviews and things like that. Premium, premium, premium.
yeah, yeah,
They talked about it as a premium product. PS5 is premium. We believe in the premium look, and people were like, "What?" And you can truly see it. I mean, the PS5 looks alien, but it looks premium.
yeah,
The DualSense feels premium. The headset feels everything they're making
yeah.
looks striking and it looks premium. And I can't wait to play this.
I mean, they're like the Apple. They're like the Apple of the console world, aren't they? You know what I mean? They're working they work really hard on the aesthetics, the comfortability, as well as the usability. The whole ecosystem has to adhere to a certain standard, and it's consistent. They've been consistent to it for a long time now,
Mm.
and it seems like they've just gone leaps and bounds. I mean, other console manufacturers are going to be looking at this thinking, yeah, we need to take a massive page out of Sony's book now to see exactly how to move things in the future, Nintendo and Microsoft included. And I'm sure Oculus Rift is now thinking, bloody hell, why didn't we just do that? You know what I mean? Like they were in the lead. They were in the lead. You know what I mean? But that's been taken now.
The only
Taken.
thing that I need perfect now is
But
just a comfortable headset. Not comfortable, a comfortable headset. Sorry, like similar
yeah,
to the PSVR, it fits around the head perfect. You don't get a sore neck from playing it. We just
yeah.
need like perfection now, and that's it. But so far, they're ticking the boxes, listeners. We had to do it. We were thought, shall we wait a week and talk about it next week? But we were just too excited because, just like you guys, we love PlayStation. We want to talk PlayStation, and PSVR is something we both hold dear to our hearts. We love it, even though we don't really play it that much these more because it's just a ball ache to set up. But we had to do it quickly and get another
Yeah,
episode out this week, and
yeah.
we just didn't want to do it half-assed. So this will be available to everybody straight off the bat. Also, if you head over to youtube.com and search for the latest PS5 podcast, you can get this in video form as well. You can also head over to www.patreon.com/latest PS5, where you get extra episodes called the latest PSX, where we talk all things PlayStation, historical, things like that. Gets your nostalgia running. People say
The
it's the
fun.
best show that we do. So head over and have a look. But Alex, I'm going to give you the final VR word of this show.
Flipping amazing.
Good afternoon, everyone. See you later.